I had a very good meeting with the Treasury Secretary. We talked at length about the specifics of financial regulatory reform. I expressed to the Secretary my opposition to the partisan bill that was reported by the Senate Banking Committee, but I also told him of my belief that we can work out a truly bipartisan bill that will strengthen our financial system. I expressed to the Secretary my opposition to creating a $50 billion fund that I believe would create a moral hazard and would send the signal to financial institutions that they could continue to engage in risky practices without any constraints because this fund would exist to bail them out. I think that that is exactly the wrong signal for us to be sending. The Secretary told me that he agreed with my concerns and that, in fact, the administration did not support the creation of the $50 billion fund. So I was pleased that there was agreement on that point. We discussed at length how we prevent the too big to fail phenomenon. I suggested to the Secretary that if you have higher capital requirements for institutions as they increase in size, that you would go a long ways toward dealing with that problem. I also expressed to the Secretary my concern that the bill does nothing to address the problems of Freddie and Fannie, which obviously contributed to the financial crisis. We talked about the proposed Consumer Financial Protection Agency, whether it was better to try to strengthen the current agencies or create a brand new agency. Those are some of the issues that we discussed. I told the Secretary that I look forward to working closely with him to try to develop a bill, and that I hoped the administration would participate in good faith with the Banking Committee members to negotiate a bill. Senator Reid tries to bring the partisan bill that was reported by the Senate Banking Committee to the Senate floor this week, I will vote against cloture. I am very optimistic that given more time and the kind of discussion that I just had with the Secretary of the Treasury, that we can put together a bipartisan bill that will deal effectively with the too big to fail phenomenon. We need more time for those negotiations to take place. It's my understanding that Senators Shelby and Dodd are continuing to talk, as well as Senator Corker and Senator Warner. And I think those discussions can produce a bill that could garner widespread bipartisan support.
How much more time? How much time?
Well, it depends on whether people bargain in good faith. I see no reason why a bipartisan bill could not be put together within the next few weeks. The Secretary and I had a very good discussion. I found there's a lot of common ground. For example, he indicated a willingness to drop the $50 billion bailout fund. He agreed with several of my comments about derivatives tradings and several other issues that are key to this bill.
Is he willing to give more weeks, several more weeks?
I certainly hope so. Certainly it makes sense to take more time to try to work out these incredibly complex issues and produce a bill that could get 70 votes on the Senate floor than proceeding with a highly divisive partisan bill that may not solve the problem and would run into a buzzsaw of opposition.
Senator, are you at all worried about the charge that Democrats are lobbying against some Republicans, that you're standing on the side of Wall Street if you stand against the motion to proceed?
I truly do not know of any Republican senator who has said that we should not do financial reform. I believe everyone in the Senate is committed to this goal. And indeed, there was a great deal of progress that was being made by members of the Banking Committee that had split up issues and were negotiating until the White House unfortunately pulled back on those negotiations. My hope is that the White House will now decide that it is in everyone's interest to negotiate in good faith and come up with a strong, effective bill. There's no doubt that the American taxpayers have had it with bailouts. They want a strong bill. They want new rules of the road for our financial system, and we don't ever want to face again the root problems that caused a near financial collapse in the fall of 2008, and for which we're still paying.
Is it possible